So last time we completed chapter 12 immediately after chapter 10. We did not record chapter 11 in between. Also today we will straight away read chapter 17. So chapter 11, 13, 14, 15 and 16. For a moment we will leave them as of now because these are more related to how to worship Shiva's phallic form, which is Shivling. For example, how to place it, how much should be its size, what should be the size of a place where it is to be installed. So it's more related to Pandits, it's more related to temples and the procedures. Then rest of the chapters is about the good conduct or description about fire sacrifice, about the yagya and how to worship clay idols and their results. Since these are not very directly related as of now for us, because people who are in their jobs, especially in Kali Yuga times where people are having less of time, I think maybe we record rest of the chapters where we have stories related to Lord Shiva, and we therefore will continue today with chapter 17. And chapter 17 is about the glorification of the syllable Om and the 5 syllabled mantra, which is Namah Shivay. Since this chapter is about enchanting the mantra Om followed by 5 syllables Namah Shivay in order to receive liberation, let us very quickly understand what is the real meaning of liberation, because then we will be able to relish this chapter much better. There are 5 kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarasti, and Sayujya, where Sa, which is a prefix, means similar. Salokya means after receiving material liberation, one is promoted to the planet where Supreme Personality of Godhood resides. So it's getting free from liberation or liberation from material world and then getting spiritually elevated. Samipya means the one who is closer to the God. Samip, near. Samipya means remaining an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarupya means same roop or same face, same form. Sarupya means attaining a four-handed form exactly like that of Lord. Sarasti means attaining opulences like those of Supreme Lord. And Sayujya means merging into Brahman effulgence of the Lord, which means effulgence means a super shine like sun. So this is one of the liberation where one form of the liberation where one is able to shine like sun, like God. These are the 5 types of liberation. We learned in chapter 12 that the word or the mantra Om followed by Namah Shivay is a very powerful mantra which was revealed by Lord Shiva himself. In this chapter, we will read a little bit more about glorification of the syllable Om and Namah Shivay, and where Om is also called as Pranav Mantra. So the sages said, O Lord, tell us the greatness of syllable Om and that of the 6 lingas, O great sage. Also, please tell us the worship of the devotees of Shiva in order. So Suji explains, all of you sages have now requested for a very good thing. Only Shiva can explain this properly, no one else. Still, I shall explain the same with Shiva's grace. May Shiva increasingly guard us, you and everyone else. So, the syllable Om means an excellent boat that helps us cross the ocean of worldly existence. So, there is a term called Pranav. So, Om is considered to be a Pranav mantra, where Pra, which is the prefix, it signifies Prakriti, and Nava means an excellent boat. Or Pranav may mean that there is no world for you, or it may also mean the one that leads to salvation, or it may also mean that it is the one which leads you to a new knowledge. After annihilating all actions, it gives the persons who repeat the mantra or worship a fresh knowledge of a pure soul. So this Pranav Mantra, which is just the syllable Om, it has twofold forms. One is a very subtle form or the subtle form, and the other is the gross form. The subtle one is of a single syllable where the constituent five syllables are not really differentiated clearly. The gross one is five syllables where all the constituent syllables are manifest. So which means Namah Shivay, that's the five syllables, and Om really is the Pranav Mantra. The subtle one is for the liberated living souls who are called as Jiva Mukta. So these are the persons who, while living in the world, they remain to be detached, while they take care of everyone else, but whatever happens in their life, they bow down to it, and they are the ones who, as I mentioned, are not bound in the clutches of these worldly material things. So the what subtle one is really meant for these liberated living souls. The need for contemplation of the meaning through the mantra is only up to the destruction of the physical body. Because once the body is destroyed, that gets completely merged into Lord Shiva himself, undoubtedly. The mere repeater of the mantra attains the logic and the yogic communication or communion with Shiva certainly. A person who repeats the mantra 36 crores of times certainly attains the yogic communion. The subtle pranav is again twofold, the short and the longer one. So, like we understood last time in chapter 12, when we say Om, we say it in three different pieces. First is A, second is U or U, and third is Ma. So, this is how we say Om. So, three different parts of word Om. So, the longer one is present in the heart of the Yogins alone, separately in the form of A syllable, U syllable, M syllable, Bindu and Nad. Nad is the sound of Om. It is endowed with all the digits of the time sound. Shiva, Shakti and the union are indicated by syllable M, which is Ma. So whenever you say Ma, you will find that there is a lot of vibration in your brain. And that is where it signifies that you are truly remembering Lord Shiva and the Shakti. So O or the when it starts with that is the significance, or it signifies Brahma actually. The middle one U or U, it signifies Vishnu, and Ma signifies Shiva Shakti. The five elements, which are ether, air, fire, water and earth, and their five subtle sounds, which are touch, form, taste and smell, together activized in relation to achievement of desires, and these are called as pravrattas. The short subtle pranav is for those who desire the continuance of mundane existence, and a longer one is for those who are averse to the same. The pranav is used in the beginning of Vyarti's mantra, in the beginning of Vedas, and during the prayer at dawn and at dusk, along with Bindu and Nad. If the devotee repeats it 9 crores of times, he becomes pure. So, in the evening or in the early morning, the one who chants Om, he gets a liberation, because that's where you're truly remembering Shiva Shakti. A further repetition for 9 crores of times enables him to win over the earth element. A further repetition for 9 crores of times enables him to win over the water element. Similarly, for each repetition of 9 crores of times, he is able to win over the elements of fire, wind, and ether. So, our body, which is made of these 5 elements, this is also being signified in Namah Shivay. So, these 5 syllables, Na, Maha, Shi, Va, and Ya, these represents all these 5 elements out of which our body is made. So each time it is repeated, it helps you win over all these 5 elements. So it talks about 9 crores of times and so many numbers are given. But I think we should all take it much easy because we read in the previous chapters as well. What God is really looking for is our bhav, is our emotions for Him. So wherever we get time, we should try to chant this mantra because this is the one that has been manifested by Lord Shiva himself out of his 5 faces. The attributes of smell, etc., are to be similarly won over by successive repetitions of 9 crores of times. The egotism is to be won over by another repetition of 9 crores of times. So, as many number of times you enchant this mantra Om, it helps you overcome all the obstacles of even our senses. We don't get really, pressed into its boundaries. One remains detached thereby. By repeating it daily for 1,000 times, the devotee becomes perpetually pure. O Brahmins, thereafter, the repetition of mantra is conducive to the achievement of desires. So, the repetition also helps you achieve all your desires. A devotee who thus contemplates all of this, and the one who is able to complete 108 crores of japs of Pranav Mantra, that is Om, is thus fully enlightened, and he shall master Shuddha Yoga or Suddha Yoga. A person who has thus mastered Suddha Yoga becomes certainly a liberated living soul. A Mahayogin who performs japs and meditations perpetually of Shiva in the form of Pranav and maintains mystic trance certainly becomes Shiv himself. He must perform japs after duly performing the ritualistic placing of the finger over different parts of the body as prescribed. The devotee who practices the jap of Pranav mantra, that is Om, with due ritualistic placings of fingers on the parts of the body becomes a sage. As of those who are devoted to activities and those who both refrain from and indulge in activities, the gross pranav is recommended. Shiv Yogins are of 3 types, being devoted to rites, austerities, and japs. So these are the first one is Kriya Yogin. And Kriya Yogin is the one who engages himself in sacred rites and worships spending money, using limbs of the body, and uttering words Namaha, which means obeisance, etc. The Tap Yogin is the one who desists from injuring others, restrains all external sense organs, takes limited quantities of food, and performs worships. The third is the Jap Yogin. That's the one who is quiet, performs jap always, is free from all sort of desires, and maintains all these observances mentioned before. A pure man shall obtain liberation only step by step, beginning with Salokya as a result of being purified by the worship of Shiv Yogins with 16 services and homage. O Brahmins, I shall now explain you the Jap Yoga. Please listen to it very carefully. Even the person practicing austerities shall perform japs to purify himself. The jap of 5-syllable mantra shall always be performed along with Pranav. A man who achieves everything by means of jap of 5-syllable mantra, which is Namah Shivay. O Brahmins, the devotee shall take instructions from his preceptor, sit comfortably on the ground, cleaned well, and start the jap. The practice shall start on the Chaturdashi day of bright half and concluded on the Chaturdashi day of the dark half. During the days of jap, he shall take only a single meal during the day in limited quantities. He shall also abstain from useless talks and curb all his sense organs. He shall uninterruptedly render service to his parents and the king or any master who he serves. By performing the jap 1,000 times, he shall be free from indebtedness, otherwise not. So, what we need to understand from this is that the one who wants to achieve Shivlok, blessings of Shiv Baba, it is important that we recite the mantra Om, which is Pranav Mantra, and also 5-syllable mantra, which is Shivaayy, Namah Shivay. What is most important to understand is that one should remain pure, clean, should not otherwise talk wrong about anybody else. So I think those diligent ways are the most important things instead of really sitting all the time at one place, because one has to take care of the family also. So taking it very easy, as it has been mentioned over here, that just keep reciting it wherever you get time. Don't speak wrong about anyone else, keep pure, etc. The 5-syllable mantra shall be repeated 500,000 times, all the time remembering various aspects of Lord Shiva, who is seated in the lotus pose. He is the bestower of all auspiciousness. He has the crescent moon for his coronet. He has given shelter to Ganga in his matted hair. With Shakti seated on his left thigh, he shines with his great concourse of attendants around him. He bears the moon. He shows the gestures of bestowing boons and offering freedom from fear. He is the cause of perpetual blessing. He is Sadashiv. So whenever you recite Om followed by Namah Shivay, try to have an image of Lord Shiva in your mind where he has moon on his forehead, Ganga in his matted hairs, and other characteristics as have been explained in this, where Shakti sits on his left. While performing the jap of 5-syllable mantra, he shall sit facing the east. All his actions should be pure. For the sake of worship, he shall invite 5 great devotees of Shiva along with their wives. So who are these 5 great devotees of Shiva? These are Samba form, the other represents Ishan, the third represents Aghora, fourth is Vam, and fifth is Sadyojata. All the articles for the worship shall be ready and the worship shall start. The ghee used should be the one prepared from the milk of tawny cow. He shall make 10, 100 or 1,000 offerings, or he shall bid the devotees of Shiva make the offerings. In that case, the offerings are 108 in numbers. At the end of the sacrifice, monetary gifts shall be given. He shall make gifts of cooked rice and 10 ancillary constituents with great pity. The preceptor's wife must be considered as a great goddess. For every set of 500,000 japs, the householder shall be blessed with the riches and prosperity of different lokas, beginning with Atal and ending with Satyalok in order. If the householder dies in the middle, he shall be reborn in the world after due enjoyment of pleasures in the other worlds. He shall then continue the jap and derive the benefits of being near to Brahman, thus attaining the absorption into Karya Brahman, the action Brahman. He gains all such enjoyments as can be wished for till the time of final dissolution. The next Kalpa, he will be born as Brahma's son. Becoming illuminated with penance, he shall be ultimately liberated. So, what it is trying to say is that a person becomes a purified soul, gets Shivlok, is able to enjoy in this world and thereafter in the astral world if one has a practice of chanting Om. 14 worlds beginning with Patal and ending with Satya are evolved out of 5 elements such as earth, etc. These are called Brahma's worlds. There are 14 Vishnu worlds beyond Satya world and ending with Shama. In the Shama world, the action, Vishnu is stationed in the excellent city of Vaikuntha in the company of action, Lakshmi protecting the great recipients of enjoyment. Beyond that, and ending with Suchi Lok, there are 28 worlds. So we think that this is only one world, one earth, one universe. But as far as this chapter is concerned, it has really clarified that there are many worlds. Even in Gurbani, in the Japji Sahib, it is mentioned that there are so many worlds, there are so many earths, which is beyond a human deliberation. So it confirms that there are many earths and other parts, and there are many worlds and many universes. And this is Lord Shiva that is taking care of everything. In the pure world of Kailash, Rudra, the annihilator of living beings, is stationed. Beyond that are the 56 worlds, ending with Ahimsa region. The action lord who has screened everything is stationed in the city of Janan Kailash in the Ahimsa region. At the end of the same is the wheel of time, and beyond the ken of time there is space called Kalatika or Kalatita. There, Kala means god of death and time, backed by Shiva, and in the name of Karservavara unites everyone with time. In his activity, he occupies Dharma in the form of buffalo, whose 4 legs are untruth, untidiness, violence, and ruthlessness. He can assume any form he wishes. He assumes the form of great buffalo. He is rich in atheism, has evil association and utters sounds other than those of Vedas. He has an active association with anger. He is black in color. He is great Lord Maheshwar to that extent. The ability to vanish is up to that extent. Beneath that is Karam Bhog, enjoyment as a result of activity. Beyond that point is Janan Bhog, that is enjoyment due to knowledge. Beneath that point is Karmamaya, and beyond that point is Jananmaya. Explanation of Karamamaya. Ma means Lakshmi, that is Karambhog. Attainment of same is Maya. The word Ma is then interpreted as Jananbhog. Attainment of same is Maya. Beyond that point is Nitya Bhog, that is perpetual enjoyment. Beneath that point is Nasvar Bhog, that is evanescent enjoyment. Beneath that evanescence and beyond that there is freedom. The bondage of nooses is only beneath that point. There is no bondage beyond that. Those who performs actions with desires alone hover beneath that point. The worshippers of phallic emblem who are unaffected by desires can go beyond that. Worshippers of deities other than Shiva hover beneath that. Those who are devoted to Shiva alone can go beyond that. Crores of jivas live beneath that point. There is a great fort wall, as it were, above the same. So what it is trying to say is that the one who worships idols, they do get liberated, they do get higher elevated souls, but they still remain beneath a certain point. But the ones who straight away and directly connect with Lord Shiva, they are the ones who are able to break all bondages. Persons who are bound by worldly existence remain beneath that point, and those who are liberated go beyond that. Those who worship natural substance hover beneath that. The unmanifest linga is beneath that point, but the manifest one is beyond. Obeisance, which is beyond that point, quells pride and egotism. The word Jan means evanescence. Na is negative particle. The word Janana, which is Jnana, therefore means that which wards off evanescence. Those who worship elements hover beneath that point. Beyond that stands ahead of Shivalok, the bull of virtue in the form of celibacy. It has the legs of truthfulness. The bull of Dharma has forbearance for its horns, restraint for its ears, faith for his eyes, size for his intellect and mind. It is embellished by the sound of Vedic chants. The bull of sacred rites, etc., are to be understood as stationed in the causes. Maheshwar presides over the bull of sacred rites. This is called the abode of Shiva, Shivaayy, the supreme Atman. There alone stays Parameshwar in the company of Parashakti. He is skilled in the performance of five functions of creation, maintenance, evanescence, and blessings. His body is existence, knowledge, and bliss. He is always in meditation. He is ever bent on blessings. He is seated in the pose of trance. He shines, rested in his own self. Vision is possible gradually through sacred rites, meditation, etc. By performing daily rites and worships, the mind is diverted towards the sacred rites of Shiva, the performance whereof gives the sight of Shiva. Those who come within his vision are certainly liberated. The liberation is in the form of realizing the nature of Atman. It is a relaxation and resting in one's own soul. It is based on sacred rites, penance, jap, knowledge, meditation, and virtue. Relaxation is assured at the vision of Shiva. Shiva, who is merciful, he removes ignorance even as the sun removes all impurities and darkness by means of its rays. When ignorance is dispelled, the knowledge of Shiva begins to function. On acquiring the knowledge of Shiva, a person achieves relaxation. He becomes gratified at the acquisition of relaxation. And this is so true because in today's world, which is Kali Yuga that we are living in, everyone is so much engrossed in some or the other activities. There is hardly a time to get spiritually elevated. So this really helps when one chants this Pranav Mantra followed by 5 syllables. Again, by means of 10 million japs, he acquires Brahma's region. A further 10 million japs enables him to achieve Vishnu's region. By a further 10 million japs, he attains Rudra's region. And by further 10 million japs, Ishwar's region is attained. Shiva becomes delighted at the worship of the devotee. There is no difference between Shiva and the devotee of Shiva. He is Shiv himself. The mantra is of the nature of Shiva. By holding the mantra, the physical body of the devotee becomes identified with Shiva. Devotees of Shiva know all the rites, all the Vedic rites. The more an aspirant repeats the mantra of Shiva, the greater is the presence of Shiva in his body. For the woman devotee of Shiva, the symbol of goddess shall be the form for concentration. The presence of goddess continues to be felt as long as mantra continues to be repeated. An intelligent man who continues to worship Shiva becomes worthy of the name of the form. Even when the aspirant has become Shiv, he shall worship the Par. He shall worship Shakti, the embodied and the phallic form of Shiva, after faultlessly making image of the same. He shall consider the phallic form as Shiv and himself as Shakti, or he shall consider Shakti Ling as the goddess and himself as Shiv, or he shall consider Shiv Ling in the form of Nad and Shakti in the form of Bindu, and give the primary and secondary character to either or consider both united together. With the 16 forms of service and homage, he shall worship devotees of Shiva who are verily the mantra of Shiva personified or identical with Shiva. He will assume the form of Shiv and Shakti and he will not be born again. Just below the umbilicus is the part of Brahma, till the armpit is the part of Vishnu, and the face is the phallus in the body of a devotee of Shiva. If anyone dies, the householder shall worship the primordial father Shiva, the primordial mother Shiva, and the devotees of Shiva. Thereby, whether the dead body is properly cremated or not, the dead man shall go to the world of mains and gradually attain salvation. A person endowed with tapas is far better than 10 persons endowed with rites. So, which means that a person who is doing tap and the one who is reciting the mantras is far better as against those who are just endowed with rites, different rituals, and other things. A person endowed with jap is superior to the 100 persons endowed with tap. A person endowed with knowledge of Shiva is superior to 1,000 persons endowed with japs. A person endowed with meditation is superior to 100,000 persons who have knowledge of Shiv. A person endowed with power of trance is superior to 1 crore of meditating persons. Since the latter are superior to the former, they shall be selected for worship. So who are finally the ones who are superior most? They are the persons who are endowed with the power of trance. Even sensible persons cannot fully comprehend the excellence of benefit. An ordinary man cannot understand the greatness of the devotee of Shiva. The worship of the devotee of Shiva is on par with the worship of Shiv and Shakti. He who worships any of these piously becomes Shiv and attains Shiv. He who reads this significant chapter that agrees with the Vedic injunctions becomes a Brahmin endowed with the knowledge of Shiv and rejoices in the company of Shiv. O scholarly lords of sages, a person who knows special things must narrate them to the devotees of Shiva. By Shiva's grace, he will be blessed. So we end here chapter number 17, where we've learned about Om, which is called as Pranav Mantra, and Shivaayy, Namah Shivay, the 5-syllabled mantra, and how much it is important to keep reciting it and become free from all misery. So whenever you get time, wherever you are, just keep reciting it. We shall come back with the next chapter next time. Just a small correction. At the start of this chapter, I referred to chapter 12, where we learned about significance and manifestation of word Omkar. I meant that to be chapter 10.
आदिदेव शंकरा तेरे जाप के बिना चले ये सांस किस तरह